Hello, everyone. Good morning to you all. Hopefully, you all are safe and healthy in your. Okay, I'm your general science teacher of class 4 from PMS Girls 2, and I was hoping that you all are taking advantage from all the subject videos that we are sharing with you and making for you, right? And I hope that you have done May task in your notebooks with clean and neat handwritings, right? Okay, now in this lecture, we will first discuss about June task 2021, and then we will continue our chapter number first, which we have started in the previous lecture. Okay, so dear students, first of all, have a look on the June task 2021. Okay, this is your June task picture. So these all questions you have to write down in your notebooks with answer. I will tell you one by one the answer of these questions in this video. Okay, so let's have a look on these question answers. Okay, dear students, this is your page of your notebook. If you have done your May task, then you have to come on the new page, and on the new page you have to write down the date, today's date, page number, and today's day. Then you have to write down on the third line of this page that work from home June 2021, right? And make a sketch like this. It will looking neat and clean. Okay, now come to the next page, and on the next page again you have to write down the date, page number, and then day. Then you have to write the heading of question number 1 with your blue marker. Then write down the answer, write down the question: why air is needed by animals and plants. Write down the answer of this question. So the answer of this question is animals and plants need oxygen from air to breathe. Number second point is plants also need carbon dioxide from air to make food. Similarly, we have question number 2. So we have what would happen if there had been no water. Answer is water is very important for living organism. If there had been no water, then there would be no life. Okay, dear student, I have highlighted the main words of the answer, right? So you have to write down with your marker. Okay, the highlighted words you have to write with your blue marker. Now come to the question number 3. Question number 3 is define locomotion. So answer is first give the heading of locomotion, then write the answer. Animals move from one place to another in search of food, shelter, and water. This movement is called locomotion. Now come to the question number 4. Define reproduction. First, give the heading of reproduction. The answer is the process by which living organisms produce new organisms of their own kind is called reproduction. And then draw the ending line. Now the question number 5 is draw, color, and label the diagram of life cycle of sunflower. Okay, remember student that first you have to ready your page margin line. Okay, then start uh, further work. So this question is about diagram, so you always draw the diagram on the very new page. Okay, so this is your new page, and on this page you have to make the frame first. Okay, like me, I have made the frame of this diagram first, and then give the heading of life cycle of sunflower, then make a seed, then this, and then this. So these are the 4 stages of life cycle of sunflower. You have to draw like this and then color it. Okay, and also label this diagram. So this was all about your June task. Now come to the chapter number first, characteristic and life process of organism. This chapter we have started in the previous lecture. So first recap the previous lecture. So, in the previous lecture, we have discussed about the characteristics of living things, similarities and differences between plants and animals, and classification of animals, right? So, now in this lecture, we will discuss about the classification of plants and number second, biodiversity. We have just two topics in today's lecture. Okay. Okay, now come to the classification of plants. This is your book page, and on this page we have a topic of classification of plants. Okay, so what is the classification of plants? Dear student, first of all, you all know very well that plants are living things and we have thousands of species of plants occur in our environment, and in which some of them are small in size and they are called herbs, and some of them are medium in size and are called shrubs, and some of them are big in size or larger in size and they are called trees. So we have a variety of, we have different species of plants in our environment. Also we have many flowers, we have many different flowers, and we have some plants which have no flowers, just we have leaves, and some plants which we have flowers also. So this was all about the plants species and plants variety, right? So as we have discussed in the previous lecture that scientists have classified the animals into two groups, so similarly students, scientists also classified the plants into two groups, right? So, scientists classified the plants into two groups. The first is flowering plants and the second is non-flowering plant. So, what are flowering plants? Plants which contain flowers are called flowering plants. Like we have rose plant, like we have hibiscus, mango tree, sunflower plant, banana tree, and papaya tree. These all plants have flowers in their plants, right? Yes. Okay, now come to the non-flowering plants. What are non-flowering plants? Non-flowering plants are those plants which do not contain flowers. Like we have mosses. Look at this picture. There is no flower in this plant. Also, we have fern. So, there is no flower, that's why they are called non-flowering plants. Similarly, we have juniper. This plant is called juniper, and there have no flower in this tree, right? So this was about flowering and non-flowering plants. That flowering plants are those which have flowers and non-flowering plants are those which have no flower. Okay, now come to the difference between flowering and non-flowering plants. As you have know that the main difference between flowering and non-flowering plant is that flowering plants have flowers and non-flowering plants have no flower. But there is a main difference, and another difference between flowering and non-flowering plant is, yes, flowering plants produce seeds to grow, but non-flowering plants produce spores to grow. Okay? Again, flowering plants produce seeds to grow, but non-flowering plants produce spores to grow. Okay, now I will tell you that in the process of reproduction, how flowering plants produce seeds. So, as you know that flowering plants have flowers in their plants. So flowering plants when come to adult stage, so they make flowers. Then they make pollination process, and then they make fertilization process, right? And at the end they make these flowers converted into fruit. And finally we have a very beautiful plant with fruits, right? So this was about flowering plants. Now come to the non-flowering plants. Non-flowering plants, although they contain no flowers, as I have told you that non-flowering plants have no flowers. So instead of flowers, they contain spores. Like you see in this picture, these are called spores, right? And through these spores, new plants originate, and some of them grow seeds, and these seeds make corns. These are called corns, right? So, this is the main difference between flowering and non flowering plants. That flowering plants produce seeds to grow, but non flowering plants produce spores to grow. Okay, so this was about the classification of plants. Now, come towards the second topic of today's lecture, that is biodiversity. Okay, this is your book page, and on this page we have a topic of biodiversity. Okay, dear students, first of all, I want to show you about the meaning of biodiversity. So, biodiversity is the combination of two words, biodiversity. Bio mean life and diversity mean variety. So, this means that the study of variety of life or the study of variety of living things on earth is called biodiversity, right? Like we have many different species of plants on earth. Similarly, we have many different species or variety of animals, right? So these all are connected with each other. This is called biodiversity. Okay, I wanna tell you this topic in detail, that if you look around you and observe the living things, do all the living things look alike? If no, then why? All these living things are different in their functions and structures. Okay, so what is biodiversity? Biodiversity is basically the number of the types of the living things. Living things, we have animals and plants, human beings, birds, insects. These all are the living things. So they are present at a particular place. Particular place means specific place, and this is called biodiversity. Okay, like you see in this picture contain animals, plants, trees. All of these make our environment, and this beautiful environment different, which contain different species of plants and animals, human beings. All these make biodiversity. Okay, now the question is, why is biodiversity is important? Because the more biodiversity we have, the more stable our environment we have. Okay, for example, if there is a variety of plant species, so there is a variety of food sources we have. Okay, clear? And similarly, materials for our clothing, materials for building, or for sources of food, sources of medicine, and so much more are provided to us from different species of plants and animals. Okay, so the stability of our global ecosystem depends on the biodiversity of life. And you know that we still do not know the actual number and kinds of living things present on the earth. So many types of living things have become extinct, and the existence of many living things is in danger due to some factors like destruction of habitat, and change of climate, increase in temperature on earth, and scarcity of water. So all these are the factors of the biodiversity due to which many of the living things or the many of the species of living things become extinct. Okay, so this is the greatest threat to biodiversity is human body activity, and it is our job to preserve and protect life on earth. Clear? So dear students, this was today's lecture. So I will revise this lecture inshallah in our online class. Now today your homework is you have to write down these questions in your notebooks, and also the answer of these questions as I have told you in the start of my lecture. So you can copy the answers of these questions from this video. Okay, but you have to write down just these four questions. Don't write the question number 5 that is about diagram. Okay, we will draw the diagram inshallah in the next video lecture.